欢迎参加今天晚上的演讲会。我今天晚上的演讲会题目叫做 The Subtle Art of Doing Business with the Chinese. Good evening. My name is Carl Weaver. I'm actually a mobile device specialist. I eat, sleep, and drink these things. I love them. I have many of them. This evening I'm going to give you a presentation called The Subtle Art of Doing Business with the Chinese, but as it applies towards the mobile device space. I've spent the past 20 years of my career, 10 of those years in the greater Chinese markets, and the past 12 years actually in the Northwest, helping 5 companies here in the Northwest sell into the greater Chinese and the entire Asia-Pacific market. I'd like to talk about how I use this device here. There we go. So this evening's presentation will start with the subtle art of doing business with the Chinese, and then we'll talk about adopting proven tactics, which are short-term, right, and strategies, which are more long-term, for success in the Chinese market. So the subtle art of doing business with the Chinese, shaping the Chinese personality, modern influences on China today. Well, I can tell you this has the most impact and influence on China today, followed by the internet. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. We'll talk about Confucianism and how it applies to China in business. We'll talk about face, 面子. We'll talk about 关系. We'll talk about understanding the legal environment and contract usage. Navigating the social system of red tape in China, oh yes. And a little bit about the glass ceiling from the Chinese perspective. So what is influencing China today? Many, many things are influencing China today. In particular, mobile communications, because they don't have desktops or laptops as much as they have the mobile device. Hence, they want to do a lot of things in the mobile device. Hence, that's the reason why Microsoft is betting everything on the smartphone and betting everything on the China market, or much of it on the China market, because it's a huge subscriber base. It's 400 million subscribers and growing with about a 30 to 35% penetration rate. Traditional values and history, they're influencing China. The free economy. I honestly feel that the Chinese have an extra business gene, which allows them and enables them to do business, the likes of which we haven't seen yet. I wish I had one. Western culture. We are influencing the Chinese. We're purchasing all the goods that China produces. I think that Western companies better be very, very concerned if they're manufacturing a product in the United States, because I don't think that there's anything the Chinese cannot produce, quite honestly. If you've been to Shanghai, you've seen their maglev rail system. End of discussion. Chinese, overseas Chinese, Huaqiao, they call them, or Haigui. These are Chinese people with certain expertise from the West, certain technology, certain know-how, who've gone back into China and developed their fortune and developed their wealth. And of course, socialism. Yes, it still influences the Chinese behavior. Shaping the business personality. Well, if China were an easy country to do business in, well, the United States would have a tremendous, tremendous trade advantage over China. The situation is not that. The situation is that the Chinese people are a very, very complex culture, formed over thousands of years, dynasties, kings, emperors, and this is a very complex culture. So it's not like getting on a plane and going to Europe. It's very, very different. It's purely from the aspect of the thinking of the people. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Generally speaking, it is critical to be prepared when you go into China. If you go into China and if you're not prepared, that one business deal that you were trying to close, you may have lost the whole business forever. So it is very, very critical. And you have to understand how to manage your Chinese employees' motivation, how to motivate them. I want to talk a little bit about the Chinese circle of influence. So you can see that right now, if you go into China, you're a 陌生人, right? You're a stranger. You could possibly become a 熟人 or a friend. a Pangyo, right? You could even become a Jared, although that's very difficult to get